Each one of us was affected in our own way from the restrictions around the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. All of us have a story. It was really tough. My guest today, Linda Marigliano, for her, it meant being stuck in Australia, away from the man that she fell in love with overseas, and not knowing if they would ever see each other again, if they'd ever make it as a couple. At the same time, grappling not only with her own journey of fertility, but working on a lifelong tendency to be a people pleaser. Quite complicated. So while I'd like to say this conversation is about boundaries and the pressures of holding on to a hard-won career as a broadcaster and international DJ while navigating that fertility and that relationship, it's those things. This is also one of the most wonderful love stories I have heard in a long, long time. And I'd like to think I know a thing or two about love stories. It's magnificent. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm back in Australia for a few weeks, and it's a special time to see my family because it'll probably be the last time that I'm in Australia for a little while because I'm pregnant.
What?
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
It's not necessarily a ridiculously long journey, but it took me a really long time to finally reunite with Magnus, my partner, and then move to LA and do these things that we literally had been talking about years ago.
Right.
Years and years ago, going, oh my God, I can't wait till we finally live together and, we can start a family. And that was back in 2019, like pre-pandemic. And then it's just taken that much longer.
And I can say this as someone who was involved in the conception of a child when I was 46.
Yeah.
I'm doing some sums on how old I'm pretty sure you are. 5 years that's a lot at this time of a woman's life.
Yeah. Well, when I had originally planned to move to LA, I was about to be, I think, mid-30s and going, okay, we're not going to be long distance relationship anymore. We're going to be living together, house together. Let's do it. Let's live our life and start a family.
Let's pull the goalie. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get it done. And then because I'd been stuck here during the pandemic, I just saw time ticking away. And yeah, as you said, as a woman, it's one of those things that it feels like a fucking loop. Can I swear?
Mate, fucking oath you can.
Yeah, I thought I
swear
could.
all the time.
Yeah, I felt like a fucking looming deadline. And I said to Magnus, I don't think that you understand how it feels to be a woman and feel like you've got this looming deadline that everybody else is like crossing this line of, and you're like, fuck, I've got to confront this at some point if I want it to happen.
Through your 20s, what your career is doing, what you're working towards, what your, North Star is, where was conception, family?
It was something I felt I never had to worry or think about. Mm-hmm. I remember even turning 30 and going, nah, not ready. Nah, not ready yet. And Still doing my career.
And what was not ready? What was like, these things have to be in a row, all these conditions have to be met before I say yes?
I think the surface level was very much that. Don't have enough money, don't have the house bought yet, don't have these things ticked off. And now I know, fuck, you're never going to be ready. You just got to make a choice and love that choice and do it. Now, looking back on it, literally 10 years later, like I'll be almost 40 by the time I give birth, I can admit to myself that I emotionally just wasn't ready. And I think the relationship I was in, I couldn't admit to myself that wasn't the one that I wanted to commit to. There was a thing in me that was stopping me from being truthful about that.
Yeah.
And so I put up the barriers of, I just don't earn enough money. I'm really enjoying the primetime show that I'm doing on radio. I don't want to give up my weekends. I still want to be DJing. It was all that stuff.
And now, when you look at Anna Luno pregnant with her second child at Coachella, how does that argument sound to you?
I know. I mean, it's bullshit, isn't it? And she was such a good friend, and I just went, my God, if you want to do it, you can do it if you're with the person that you want to do it with, if you want to give it a go. And it was funny, I didn't feel that urge until I was with Magnus and we could look at each other in the eyes and go, wouldn't that be so exciting? It wasn't oh, let's tick the box of that. It was imagine if we could do that. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
Which was such a different feeling, which I imagine that you would have felt as well.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it wild that when we're kids, it's fed into us? Like if you take your pants off in the same room as somebody, boom, pregnant, life over.
I'll be knocked up. That's it. It's going to happen. And then you get to actually trying to conceive sometimes and you're like, what the fuck? I was told this was going to happen if I literally sneezed on my boyfriend.
Yep.
And he sneezed on me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like checking ovulation. I know all the stats. I'm trying to ignore them because they're going to psych me out. I really don't want to be psyched out. I've got to just relax. I just got to not stress.
Mate, trying to, on the other side of the equation, because and I can speak from my own personal experience, on the male side of the equation, yes, women need to have a certain emotional connection for the conception to happen.
Yeah.
Yet there are, shall we say, products one can buy over the counter at the chemist that can allow the physicality of it to occur. With men, you actually have to not be stressed. You actually have to be in the moment. And when the tap on the shoulder comes, you're like, oh man, I don't know. Like something gets in your brain and like, sorry, I'm going to miss this one.
Oh my God, I know. I was like, that tap on the shoulder.
Dude.
I really feel for Magnus and other men that are in that situation because I know what it's like as the girlfriend or the wannabe mum in that situation where I'm going, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Do it's now or next month, and I'm just trying to be really gentle about it.
Like
but I'm going to fucking
minutes
kill
here.
you if you don't just do your one job.
I had a mate, people go through it. And there was a mate, him and his wife, they made a rule, never in the bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
And have they got kids?
Yeah, they ended up conceiving. But that was part of the way that they got around that, is that they introduced the novelty as like never in the bed.
Yeah.
It made it going to dinner at their place a different sensation. You're like, okay.
When were those countertops wiped
just
down?
This table right here, I will just accept that's what's you are very clean people. So there's no doubt there's been a lot of domestos.
Was it just during conception time?
During the tap on the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, during that moment. Yeah. It's hard though. It's so hard though.
Did you take time?
Oh yeah.
A bit of time off?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would thoroughly recommend and I planned the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And I made made sure I was very lucky to have a very empathetic production company that I was working for at the time.
Yep.
And the head of the production company basically just said to me, he said, it's the best day of your life. I'm not going to let you miss it.
That's
You
good.
have to be there. You have to be there. And we'll do whatever it takes to get you there.
Yeah. And
there's some pretty interesting stories about, because there was a couple of false alarms. So there's a couple of interesting TV stories about that. But I took essentially the first month, I took four weeks, maybe 5 was when I first started taking, but only a little, like a podcast here and there. And that's so vitally important.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
So important.
I find it really daunting as a now freelance person because I did work within a company for so many years and I saw
they would have had great mat leave.
The comfortability of mat leave, I left before I got my long service leave, like all of those things. And I just went, fuck, those sort of safety nets, that sort of security.
So I'll go to America where it's like $116,000 to give birth.
Oh my God, the health insurance. Thankful to have a partner that very much helps me out in that zone. But the confronting feeling of being so grateful to be in this position. Oh my God,
Yeah.
we got pregnant. I'm so happy to be doing this with you. I'm so excited about this next step in my life. I can't
Yeah.
wait to progress into whatever this next era of me is going to be. And also going, what the fuck am I about to lose? You know, potentially.
Yeah.
What am I can't ignore the fact that I reckon I'll grieve or feel confronted by, oh, now I have to step back from this and I can't multitask this and I can't say yes to all these things, which I think I'll be very grateful and happy to say no to, because there'll be this thing that I care about more than fucking anything in the world, undoubtedly. But it is daunting to think about, can I get back on the tool? When can I get back on those tools again?
Well, I have no doubt that the things that got you, because similarly, there's only so many jobs to host, the night show on Triple J.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one. And to say there's competition for that gig is an understatement.
Yeah.
And the kind of person that you are, the kind of person you have to be to do that, that's still who you are.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
all the
it's still
things
there.
all the things that got you your career, all the things that got you to a point of like, yes, I'm going to go on tour Europe as a DJ. This is what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
And doing it, all that stuff will stay. You don't lose it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Very true.
And yes, there is never-ending laundry, and yes, it is. Yes, but I'll tell you. Maybe this will talk to you about what I'm trying to say. I had lived in America for 10 years, and I met Audrey in June of 2014. I had by that point hosted. I'm still the only Australian to have ever hosted live network primetime
Yeah.
across America on CBS, 7, 8 Central. Like, it was fucking unbelievable. Like, this the front of the plane, Taylor Swift private jet kind of stuff, right? And I was developing and I was taking pitch meetings and I was this and that and the other, and I was hunting. And then I met Audrey and I met Georgia, and I was like, oh, right, this is it. This is what I want. That whatever what's driving me to stay in America and this thing, that was no longer what it is that I wanted to jump out of bed and push towards. I wanted to, like, whatever this life is with these two people is what I want to figure it out. And within a year, I had moved back. I gave my green card back. I was done. I was out because what I wanted in life changed.
Yeah, the priority.
Well, absolutely, because you said, what am I giving up? It's the end of Pulp Fiction. You're not giving something up. You're getting something. And if anything, you're getting the most unbelievable reason to get to work, to get out of bed, to get it done, to create.
Yeah.
Because you're a freelancer and you've got to keep a roof over the head. So you're like, I got to make this happen.
Yeah. I've even noticed it, like the same with Magnus, where we've both been very similar, as you said, where you're just driving and I want to create, what's the next thing, what's the next goalpost? If I get this, then I'm going to be happy, and if I get this next thing, that I know it's fucked. It's fucked. And now we're trying to unlearn all of that stuff because it's not real.
Tell me about that. Tell me about, because I have done that too.
Yeah.
In your experience, Linda.
Yeah.
What is once I get this, then?
I think I very much got rocked out of that through COVID, actually, because I wasn't getting the things that I wanted. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get that. So I've got to be happy with this day, and I've got to be happy with what I can bring to myself in this day so that I can enjoy it and be happy in the present. But I think before that, it was very goal oriented. It was always like through school. If I can be ducks of my primary school, then I'll make my parents happy, and then I'm going to be happy because I'm going to be a good girl. Yeah.
Were you?
I mean, I was a good girl and I did do well at school.
Were you happy?
I was happy because I was making other people happy. That little box that I fit into. I was happy because I could see I've pleased you.
How sustainable is that as a source of happiness?
Zero. It's fucked. It means that's the way that I operated throughout all my adult life. Every relationship, going on a date with a guy. Oh, you're really impressed, or you're really happy and you're attracted to me. Therefore, this is a relationship I want to be in because I'm making you happy. And making you happy makes me happy. And so it's just this cycle. So I'm not actually thinking about what I want or what I need. I'm just thinking about I need to make you happy. And now I've done that, so I'm good. It's so bad.
You've been quite open about, you were in quite a long-term relationship. It was, 8 or 9 years? Yeah.
9.5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What was the time immediately after that like? I mean, 9 years, like 9.5. There's grief easily.
There
There's
is.
grief for what it could have been, what wasn't.
Oh,
There's,
everything's entangled.
there's grief for the way that, once you pull out and you're on the wide angle lens, you're like, oh man, I can see my part in that. Did you have a moment where you're like, oh, I don't want to do that again? Did you have a moment where you went, okay, I better have a look at what's going on here?
What was it like as soon as I got out? I remember feeling so much guilt that I had pushed away something that was not bad, where I was with a good person, a nice person, a loyal person, a person that would be a great father. I felt a lot of guilt around that, not only to him and because of how much he'd invested in me and how much I knew that he loved me. I felt a lot of guilt towards my family and that I had something that was so stable that I then pushed away. Like I felt very much like I had probably made the wrong decision. And then on the flip side of that, I felt so much relief, and then a tiny seed of pride because I think I knew deep down, and I know now that deep down I had not been happy for a long time, and I'd finally given in to that feeling. But it didn't come without feeling extremely guilty. And then after that, I do remember thinking, okay, the next thing that I want to do is I of course I do want someone that's a good person and that's loyal and that has so many of those qualities that that person had. But I can't stay in a relationship for years when I don't listen to how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah.
And when I'm clearly staying in it because I keep thinking about how my family would react and how my friends would react. Because I think that was for me in the lead up to it. There was months on end where I was feeling this gut feeling that I didn't want to be there. But I was thinking about the fact that we were engaged. I remember thinking about his parents so much and how good they were to me and my parents and how much they loved him. And it was just all of these external people that I was thinking how disappointed they would be in me. So I remember thinking, I don't want to do that again. So I need to actually listen to myself, because there was points in that relationship years before where all the signs were there, where I was wanting to not be at home, or I was wanting to go out, or I was,
Right.
those classic signs.
There,
Osher.
yeah. Did you kind of go back to the drawing board a bit? Did you work with somebody?
I did not. I didn't do that until after the next relationship. What I did after that was the next relationship I went into was really problematic on the other side, where I was like, I'm going to choose someone really bad that that my family won't at all. So I just like flipped. Yeah, I know.
I think Green Day wrote a song called "Nice Guys Finish Last."
Yes, they did, and I know because
Are we talking neck tattoo kind of thing?
No neck tattoo, but we're talking like I'm a good time guy and I want to go out and party and don't really.
If I don't answer your text, don't keep texting.
Exactly, like just a bit of a bad boy.
Oh dear.
And I went, fuck yeah, I think that's what I need. I don't want to. My last one was about me pleasing everybody else. This one is just, I think, then I was still just pleasing him.
Oh,
but I was just kind of shutting everybody else out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to listen to anyone else's opinion. but I'll just listen to his. So it was actually the same pattern again, where it was still, oh, you approve of me and you're attracted to me, so I'll be with you.
Isn't that interesting how sometimes we can find ourselves we've had the same relationship a number of times. We're the common denominator.
Totally.
There's been different people involved.
Yeah. But it's like I still played the same role in those two relationships. But then it was when I finally came out of that one, which lasted for about a year, I think, that ended that I went, okay, this is not what I need. And this is not bringing out good sides in me, because it made me really anxious, because I was constantly looking out for signs. And I was, this is something I've learned that I was doing in my career. I've done it in every aspect of my life, where I'll walk into a room and wonder how the other person's feeling and how I can accommodate it. So, with that second relationship, it's, oh, he's moody. He can be up and down. Let me just assess how he's feeling that day, and then I'll accommodate.
Wow.
Yeah.
At what point did you, if you did, was there a point that came where you went, my ideas might not be getting me what I want. I might need someone else's ideas in this?
I think when that relationship combusted, I remember talking to girlfriends about it and about the relationship. And I remember sitting at a cafe in Paris. I remember sitting in a cafe in Paris because I was like, let's go to Europe. Come on, gals, let's do it.
I've seen movies about this.
I've seen movies. We'll have a croissant
Everything
on the
works
street.
out
We'll
great.
be at a corner cafe with those chairs that have the weaving.
Yeah, I'm going to meet an Algerian guy that doesn't speak much English or French.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I remember sitting there and going, this person was one extreme here. This person was one extreme over here. This is how I acted. But I actually need this other thing in the middle that I think would be better for me, which is someone that I can learn to be honest with, and where we can meet each other sort of where we're at as stable people, as opposed to me leaning in and walking on eggshells till I figure out what that person wants. And being quite performative.
Did you, were you involved in selection when it came to Magnus?
Actually, my friend Nina set us up.
There you go.
That's why, because you were set up sort of with your wife as well.
Yeah. I didn't even know what she looked like.
Yeah. I remember Nina sat and was like, I've got this friend that I think you should really be friends with. And unfortunately for you, Linda, it's the most inconvenient choice in the world, because he lives in America and you live in Australia.
Does Nina's surname have a commonality with an American city where there's
Nina Las Vegas?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Real name is not Las Vegas, but
it's a great name.
But DJ name Nina Las Vegas.
I knew a bloke called Johnny Gold Coast. He was amazing.
It was perfect. So Nina Las Vegas, all the glitz and glamour that comes with that, was like, I think you should become at least friends with my good friend Magnus.
I like that, because then it's the expectation is low.
Yeah, it wasn't this person's going to be the love of your life, but
Father of my child, my clock is ticking. Let's
go. Exactly. I remember her showing her phone to me that had his number and his contact details, and I remember her going, "Fuck it, Linda, just connect." And I was like, "Really?" And then a couple of drinks in, I was like, "Okay, I'll text him." And that's what happened. We became friends, and we talked on the phone, and then fuck, this is it. This is easy.
Was he in another country when you first texted him?
Yes, he was. He was in New York. And it was on that same ladies trip where had been in Paris, and I'd been talking to Nina about all these things. Yeah. And then we were when we were in London about a week later, she said, just text him. And then, so I texted him when I was in London. And then when I got back to Sydney, and we were just texting between Sydney and New York. And I remember we were texting a bunch, and he said, I think we should stop texting, and I'm going to call you on Saturday at, this time. He was like, Saturday, 6 p.m. your time. And I thought, fuck, this guy's not going to call. as if he's going to call. Why would he do that? How weird. But he did. And then we just, spoke for hours and went, God, wouldn't it be so nice if we could actually go on a physical date one day? And then months later, we'd still been texting and calling. And there was no, we weren't in a relationship at that point. We'd just been getting to know each other. It was very polite.
What did it do for you to start to get to know someone without the physicality, without even hearing their voice?
I remember that. He was the same as he's a very consistent person, and I think I really liked it. He was sort of had that, because he's Norwegian, he's got a bluntness to him that's very polite and very honest. Hello, I'm eating a piece of fish. Hello, it was, and he says
It's been pickled,
Yes.
and when you'll open the jar,
Yes.
you'll know it.
There's been pickled in soap, and this is what we have for breakfast with the brown cheese and the thing. It was everything was very matter of fact.
I love it. My Dutch mates are like that. Osher, it's good to see you. You're fat.
Yes, yes.
Hans, it's so nice to see you too. Yeah, it's the medication.
Yes,
It's not mean.
I found it really refreshing because I didn't have to guess how do you, I think because I wasn't like, how do you feel? How can I accommodate what you're doing? He was just like, hello, it would be nice to go on a date with you sometime. And then as our relationship progressed as well, like months down the line, I remember him going, I love you very much and it feels very nice to say it to you. I remember him saying that and I was like, who the fuck are? Why is...
Because you're also dealing with English as a second language.
Yeah.
So he's translating and going,
and saying
the nuance is possibly...
It's just like, it's just very matter of fact.
So taking the physicality out of... Because if you kind of meet someone and there's, I'm not saying red flags, but you can kind of vaguely see there's flags behind them.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'll deal with that in a second.
They're
I need to sort this out first because my body's telling me that I've got to do this one thing right now.
Yeah.
That can obfuscate things for
Absolutely.
sometimes years.
Yes.
And then one day you go, oh, hang on a second.
You're a dickhead.
And I kind of knew it.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
The sex was really good.
Yeah. Exactly.
What was it like to have that taken out of the equation?
I think it was really nice. I just remember thinking it was so sweet and honest and flirtatious without being ever seedy. It was like a genuine getting to know someone. I kind of knew that I'd be attracted to him because Nina had shown me a picture and she was like, I think you'd be into him. And she was like, he dances the way that you do. And I was like, okay, that could be something. And I had like seen one or two photos of him, but I think I'd done the thing where I'd stopped myself from getting caught up on the physical. Like I didn't want to Google him or find.
You don't want to be seeing his latest post and seeing which chicks have liked his photos.
Yeah, like I didn't want to be doing that stuff.
That.
So I was trying to be quite removed and just take it on the values of what those texts were giving me. And I think it really served me well because it made our initial getting to know each other very honest and wholesome. I don't know, when I say the word wholesome, it almost sounds like it's sugar-coated. It wasn't sugar-coated, but there was something very pure about it that made it so that when we actually met in person, I was like, fuck, I know the package of your brain sort of already. And now if I'm not turned off by you in person, this could work. Because there was a big fear in like, fuck, I'm going to meet this person and I'm going to hate the way they eat. Or like, they're going to really annoy me when they, like, what if he's rude to the waiter at a restaurant? Just things that you just get when you're in person. But I knew that the foundation so far was good. And so if we didn't piss each other off in person, then maybe there could be something.
Oh, so many questions. I have so many questions, but...
He was not rude to the wait staff.
Well, that's important. But this wasn't the conversation I thought we were going to have, but now I'm just so invested in the love story because, we're coming in the second act, while you're pregnant. We've kind of Tarantino'd this. We've kind of non-linear story told this. You only get the chance to kiss someone for the first time once.
Oh, yeah.
time from you should text my friend, just connect, to when you're in that moment.
Yep.
That's quite the slingshot's getting pulled a fair way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
That's a 128 bar snare roll if you're in the DJ
It was
world.
long.
Yeah, there's a lot of strobe
It
lights.
was
We've
a
run out of
long
CO2.
It was the long
like-
game.
Yeah.
The long game, Osher. It was a fucking lot to lead up to.
Like, there's kisses and there's kisses. I'm assuming that was like proper fireworks.
I remember exactly. I mean, I'm sure you remember exactly
Oh,
where
yeah.
you were when you and Audrey kissed for the first time. But I remember we'd been texting and been on calls for maybe 5 months at that point.
Were you on a holiday?
I was in LA for a wedding
Nice.
for a week, and he happened to be there for work. Happened to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Finished up work, happened to be here for an extra day, and then texted and said, would you like to go for a coffee? Which I really liked because it was just very casual. It was just
Like a
let's
daytime
just-
thing?
daytime.
Now, where did he take you?
We went to we met at Grand Central Market at a place called G&B Coffee. So it was like kind of downtown-ish. We met there at about 11 a.m.
Nice.
Coffee, which turned into a little snack, which turned into I had to go run an errand at the Grove to buy a wedding present for my friend.
So 4 hours later to
4 hours
drive
later.
literally 6 kilometers and back again.
Yes, exactly. In the car, I remember the Ubers,
Oh.
Back and forth, which turned into another juice, which turned into a coffee, which turned into, are you hungry? Like, do you want to go for dinner?
Yes, I
Ended
do.
up going to dinner at a place called Sushi Park, which was near where we live now, which is kind of in like West Hollywood. And then I remember after dinner, we were back at the house that he was staying at, which is a really close place.
Hang on, there's a lot of lead up here.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of lead
Who did he say, do you want to come back? Like, I mean, it's just now
No,
I'm like, I want to know.
I had conveniently left something at the house. So we had been.
Oh, you were there earlier in the day?
We were there earlier in the day when we'd done like a walk around the Grove, and we'd come back, and I think I'd bought I can't remember what the wedding present was. I think it was like something that I easily could have fit into my bag. I think it was a gift voucher for Barney's, like a card. And I'd conveniently left it at the house that he was staying at.
Pro move.
Such a pro move.
I've left the thing back
I've
at your
left
house.
that Barney's.
Gonna have to go back to yours.
We have to go back. So I remember we finished dinner, and I was like, oh, I've got to go back and get the card that I left on the kitchen bench. So we went back, got the card, and we were sitting and talking. And again, he was exactly as his texts were.
Mm-hmm.
What's your coffee of choice?
Mm-hmm.
And are your parents still together? What is your brother like? Just like very, very much like that. And then I remember he said, I have a question to ask you. And I went, okay, sure. And he was like, and you can feel free to say no. Okay. Would you allow me to kiss you for maybe 3 seconds? And if you don't like it, you can stop. And I was like, of course. It was so fucking cute. It was so cute. The way he asked, I remember him sitting cross-legged on this, like a low sofa for like 3 seconds. And if you don't like it, you can stop. And we didn't.
That is so magnificent.
It was
It's
very, 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 very fucking cute.
What a beautiful. It's like the best love story I've heard on this show. And I do stuff with love stories from time to time.
It's very pure.
Very nice.
Very pure.
Very nice.
And we didn't sleep together that night. We just kissed. And then he was flying. It was the torn love story where I left, he was flying back to New York the next day. And then in the next day in the afternoon, he texted and said, how's Disneyland? Because I was at Disneyland.
Natch.
As you do. And I said, Disneyland's great. How's your flight back to New York? And he said, I packed my bag. I left the house. And instead of getting into my Uber, I walked and got a coffee. So I didn't get on my flight. So if you'd like to go on a second date, I am still in town. And then
Snow Patrol's chasing car starts playing.
I literally said
Get on the
to my
405.
friends, I've got to fucking get out of Disneyland. I'm out of here.
This is no longer the happiest place on earth. It is the second happiest place on earth.
I'm gone. I'm gone, guys. I'm fucking gone. Get that Uber to the IHOP. I'm out. And that was it.
That is magnificent.
Yeah.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
That is such a beautiful story.
So he lost his flight and then just kept cancelling it for until I left at the end of that week. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you know, you know.
Yeah, it really what I'd never experienced a purity and lack of games, bluntness like it.
Yeah. Now, you've just painted a beautiful picture. My heart is swelling with joy. That sweetness, that delight must come in handy when he's shitting you, because there's no doubt that he shits you.
Yeah, he does. Not overly. We don't shit each other that often. I feel like we're going to shit each other when there's a
It's going to
baby.
happen.
Like, it's going to happen.
It's not all champagne and balcony sex. No, it is like, you really, I'm just going to go mow the lawn. You just mow it. I know.
There's going to be times.
Yeah, and that's a part of it. And this is the thing. There is the rocky stuff that does come, and that moment you just described, that stuff's really handy.
Yeah, you can remember that.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to think of the thing that he does that shits me. Sometimes he can talk really loud when he's on the phone.
Former DJ, now music producer.
Yeah, he's like,
shit.
Can talk loud on the phone. I mean, there's plenty of things. He gets annoyed if I put my keys in the fruit bowl. It's just one of his weird little likes things in a certain order.
Keys have been everywhere.
Yeah, I'm like, but yeah, I think the shitting each other will come in our parent stage.
Well, yeah, you've just told the most wonderful love story, and I'm just it's fantastic. The way that you connect with someone is really, really important, but how you disagree with someone is vital.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
To be able to
that sort of conflict. Sometimes it's not even conflict resolution. It's like just conflict airing out and learning how to listen to each other.
Yeah, and that all. You're going to need it.
That's hard. That's really hard.
Yeah. Because there's kids are the greatest thing. Oh my goodness. And equally the most difficult, challenging thing.
Yeah.
And it's all part of it.
Yeah. And I think because we were long distance for so long, so we'd done that meeting and like beautiful firework hurrah, and then we were long distance for 3 years.
Boy, shit.
And we were long distance for 3 years after that, where we were seeing each other, every couple of months. So it was just like fucking logistics of, I can get leave at this last week of September. Can you get leave? Are you going to be done with that album? Can you come over then? So there was that, and then there was, hurrah, I'm quitting my job, moving out of my house, coming to LA. We're going to make it. It's time, at the start of 2020. And then everything got shut down. So there was a lot of, not even it wasn't like that stuff brought conflict to us, but it brought intense tension of what the fuck are we going to do?
So much stuff beyond your control.
Yeah. It's like, how can we talk through this when there's not really a solution to come to? It's just, I don't know when I'm going to see you. I don't know when I'm going to be over there. I don't know when we'll see each other again.
Very difficult. What did you learn about, I guess, surrendering to things that weren't anywhere within your influence?
That you can't fight it, right? Fighting it is just going to be a battle that you're just always going to lose. I think we found patience that I didn't realize that we had, resilience as a couple that I didn't realize was so important, that I'm sure will serve us for many years to come. And the ability to talk through difficult feelings. Because again, that was something that I'd learned in my life, I think, to always put my best Linda forward and be that to use that be a bit performative and
Yeah.
everything's good, everything's great, I got this, it's good. So I think when we were struggling during COVID, and we weren't able to see each other for a year and a half. It took us a year and a half to get reunited, and even then it was a stretch.
Mm.
It was really hard to get him into Australia kind of by the second half of 2021. And I think it taught us a lot about being grateful. Grateful to just be in each other's company, grateful to have dinner together. And obviously, now that we live together, there's things that can shit each other off. If he's crowding me in the kitchen and I'm trying to cook something or something, but I think there's a foundation of gratefulness that I don't think I ever would have learnt if I had not gone through something like that, where I felt like I was in a relationship, but I wasn't. I didn't have any of the things that I wanted. Like I wanted a hug,
Yeah.
I just wanted a hug. I just wanted to sit in silence with the person that I loved on the couch at the end of a hard day.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it.
Yeah. It's you made it through that. You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set for a bit. Not set up for every challenge,
No.
but, set up in some ways better than I thought that we would be.
To be the kind of person who goes like, you know what? I've got something to say. I should be on radio. It takes some amount of, no. I am worthy of that. I have what I have to say and the way I approach the world, the way I feel about music, the way I can connect with people. Yeah, I deserve that. That is that. Or I'm really good at choosing music. I should be paid to play in a nightclub full of people who paid a lot of money to come and have a big night out. And I am that. How do those two things compare to, no, I am an author. I'm going to write a story. I'm going to write a book and you should read it.
You tell me. You've done it as well.
Well, I'd like to know your answer.
It's funny when you say that, I'm like, wow, that person sounds really fucking confident. But when I think about myself going into those things, I never felt confident. I feel like I was capable, I guess, and I think I'm learning to have more confidence and be a bit less self-deprecating. But I think, in terms of the book, it was that someone approached me and said, I think you can write a story and I think you need to fucking back yourself. It took, I think in each of those circumstances, it took someone else believing in me before I could believe in myself. So with radio, it was that, God, I was so passionate and I was such a nerd and just obsessed with every article that I could find about bands and artists and reading every weird little liner note. And then when I started volunteering in community radio, it took the program director to believe in me as an 18-year-old and go, I'm going to give you a show. And me go, me? That's a dream, but am I ready for that? And I remember her going, I'm going to give it to you. Thursday afternoons, you can, they're yours. And then similarly, that was the way that it was at Triple J. And with DJing, it was the same. Have you ever thought about DJing? Fuck yeah, it's a dream. Do you reckon I could do that? I reckon you could. But I think, for better or worse, it came from someone else believing in me doing it. And for me, it had been like a dream that I wonder if I ever would have had the guts to say, I deserve this. I hope so. I think at this stage in my life, I'd like to think that I'm more confident and go, I deserved this and I want to do it and I want to keep doing it. And I reckon I could do it and not do a totally shit job at it.
I think you've got enough form to show that once permission is given, that you'll deliver.
It's only taken 40 years.
It's okay. Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
But that's also like that permission can be given by you.
That's a big point.
Yeah. I was in a very similar boat.
Yeah.
I was developing TV formats in the States.
Yeah.
And I've got this idea, but look, I'm not a show creator. I'm not an executive producer. And my friend Kiran, he just leaned over to me. I'm going to touch his shoulder. He leaned over and he goes,
consent granted.
You're a show producer.
Yeah.
I said, And he said, that's it.
Yeah.
I said, really? Yeah. And then, so on the back of that, maybe, I don't know, 6 months later or so, I was out pitching and stuff like that. I was like, the only difference between people who've got a podcast and me is that one day they just started. Huh, I'll just start.
Yeah.
Here we are, like 1,000 episodes
Yeah.
later.
Do you reckon that it's a bit of an Australian thing as well? Because compared to the because you obviously lived in
Yeah.
LA for so long,
Yeah.
and now I'm there, the confidence that people have there to go, I'm the fucking best in the world,
Well,
and
yeah.
you're going to listen to what I have to say. You know, there's a
Mm.
there's a level of confidence there that
Yeah,
that I didn't encounter
I
as
don't
much
think
here.
and I've had a long time, I think about this a lot. I
Yeah.
think our country is an incredibly innovative place, and we have just as much brain power and just as much intellectual capital as we do mineral resources that we sell. Okay,
Yeah.
we are a very, very, very clever country, yet so often we don't back ourselves.
Yeah.
That's changing, thankfully. People are
Mm.
doing pretty outlandishly, ambitious stuff, but as a general rule, I think we go, oh, no, we're just down here in Australia. We can't do that. When I got to the States, I understood that success was a currency, but also potential of success was a currency. And people got a lot of, and sometimes financial reward by backing people early. All right. Because I don't know, like on a financial level, the property market isn't like it is anywhere else in the world as it is here. Like our property market is completely fucking rigged in Australia, right? So that's where capital goes into real estate. In the States, not the same. You can buy a house for $1 million and sell it 10 years later for 1.1,
Yeah.
and that's it. So people look for places to put their money that it will, appreciate. And so people look for really early stage stuff. They can go in the stock market, yeah. But if they go early on and go, tell me about your idea, man, you know what? You should meet my friend Linda.
Yeah.
Right? She's got a thing, right? And if you two ever do anything together, you come talk to me because I can help you get to there. All right. And that's how they get their investment, not just to go, 5% or 10%. That's how they get 20, 40, 100x on things. And so that's been a part of their culture for so long. Innovation and just backing yourself. And it really is. It's just the magic. I'm it. That's really, you just touch yourself. Whatever it is that you want to make, just go, I'm it. My old manager, he's passed away now, amazing bloke, John Ferreter. He said, someone's going to write the next number one single. Someone's going to write the next number one single. It may as well be you.
Yeah.
Why should it not be? Go ahead. Someone just sat down with a guitar or piano and started.
Yep.
There's nothing special about them any more different than you. You know the same chords. You know the same melody.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's it. I need to know that. And now I do.
Yeah.
So I'll just start.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's that I can go get them.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what you're doing right now. Like, who knows? Like, I'm touch or whatever. I don't believe in any of that, but everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
There's going to be wild problems that you 2, 3 face. All right. Within a year from now, you'll be like, what the fuck? But you believe that you will all figure it out. And that's not going to stop you. And that's really all it is. That's the secret sauce, if anything is. But I do notice that it is changing a lot here in Australia. I think the tech sector has a lot to be grateful for around that because VC money sometimes comes from overseas, and that's the way that VCs work over there. They're like, come on, tell me what you got. Show me this, show me that. And so because of the kind of Silicon Valley interconnectedness, I think there's a bit of that there. But it's very different to growing up in Brisbane where you never put your hand up and said, I can do this.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
No, not at all. You know, I think I do think that sort of tall poppy syndrome stuff.
Oh yeah, doesn't serve us. What's it like?
No.
What's it like in Norway? What does Magnus say about it?
I think it's actually very similar to Australia. Yeah, in that, but it's almost like, and the industry is even smaller. So I think for him, growing up, he strived to sort of want to play in like the big pool as opposed to being in like the kiddie pool. He was like, I could just play here for a really long time. And everyone's really nice to each other and no one says rude things and
Sounds like the FM radio scene in Adelaide.
Yeah, he
Like
was.
no one ever leaves.
Yeah, he was like, no one ever leaves. No one ever aims that high for like a global scale of things. But if I go to America and, do music and try and make it with bigger artists, then I could either fail miserably or I could find out what else is out there. And I think that it's going to be, for me, I think it's going to be better.
Yeah.
And it paid off, and now he's been there for 10 years.
Yeah. You'll learn no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you keep doing the same, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always get.
Yeah.
That's it. But I'm somebody that I require a little more stimulation.
Yeah.
There's certain diagnosed reasons why, but it's the different brains do different things.
Yeah.
Is he out of like super? I'm now fascinated. Like, is it like, okay, it better be a number one dance pop smash because you're Norwegian?
Yeah. Fortunately and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's like it's so, we talk about it a lot. It's that sort of thing that drives you forward to try and be the best, and you're competing with the best, and you don't want to do anything that's not going to be totally worth your time in a financial and credit way. So if we're going to do this song, we got to get the biggest artist on it, and we want to get the collaborator, and we want to make sure that it goes number one. And that's so much pressure. And so it's that thing that drives you to full success, but it's also the reason that people are fucking stressed there.
Yeah.
The hustle culture is real, and it feels like sometimes we talk about his work, and it's like sometimes he can feel like he's failing if a song isn't number one and is only a number 10 or 20 or something. And I'm like, think about you when you were in Norway and your biggest dream was to produce for these artists, and now you've done it, and get some perspective and have a bit of gratitude. And so we have our respective like psychologists that we work with on
that's
those
important, yeah.
levels of self-worth and validation.
But it helps when your name's Magnus and you walk into the studio, and I bet he's got a fantastic sweater collection.
He does. He's got many a sweater.
I bet he's got
many.
They can knit. Boy, oh boy.
They can.
knit.
Yeah, I've got some of those sweaters.
Of course
Christmas sweaters.
Of course you do.
All of those.
The greatest.
Yeah.
Man. But isn't that interesting? Like, even at the toppest of the top, it's the same shit.
Oh, it's the same. You're still like, and that's how we were saying earlier, to unlearn that sort of, if this goes number one, then I'll be happy. And it's like, no, you got to be fucking happy today.
That's
right now.
That's really all there is.
Look at us. We're here. We've got great coffee.
All we
I'm
have
preggers. We're good.
All we have is now. That is literally it. This is all we've got. And it is, being present is, sometimes it's hard, particularly when things are overwhelming, things like COVID, or in my case, when my brain wasn't working properly and I couldn't actually be in this moment. But it takes work. But once you get there, then you have possibility, and you can make a choice. You can make a choice that isn't based in a future fear or a past regret.
Yeah. Sometimes it's so hard because that physicality of like, I don't know, stress, that stress there can be so visceral.
I'm a down regulator kind of guy.
Yeah.
I do a lot of breathing.
Yeah.
I sit in that sauna quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's really
breathing. Good. There's times when if Magnus has felt stressed, he's like had to, like touch, do the
real
touch
important
things and noticed things like that. And then
talking my language, mate.
Yeah.
Noticing. That's all.
And I'm like,
about.
Put your phone on, do not disturb.
Oh yeah, totally.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Just don't listen to your manager for 5 minutes. We'll be okay.
What would you say to people who've never engaged with therapy or might be relating to the pattern of relationships you were describing earlier? What would you say to them about, maybe go talk to somebody?
Oh, best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
It was the best thing I ever did. And it wasn't like I was rolling around, writhing on the floor in a complete tragic state of what has happened to my life. But I could feel that something was brewing and something wasn't right. And I remember talking to my friend Michael about it and saying, I can feel that I'm not my best self, and that doubt's starting to creep in. I'm feeling a bit sad. Can you help me find someone to talk to? Because he had a few people that he was going to recommend. And I just remembered talking it through with my psychologist, a clinical psychologist that I ended up finding, Olivia. And it helped me so much in terms of giving me the emotional self-awareness to understand what was going on and my patterns of how I'd been feeling for a very long time. And she also gave me something that I really value, just because of my character, which is that she also gave me really pragmatic advice. You can do this. Why don't you try doing these 3 things a day?
I do love a takeaway. I do love
love
homework.
a takeaway. I was like, you give, because of the way I'd grown up, where I was like, you give me a task and I will do it. So if you give me homework, if you tell me to journal each day, if I'm really worried about us, having a child, okay, I will look into egg freezing, and I will, you give me practical advice, and I can sit and also emotionally reflect on what's happening. The amount of growth that I maybe never would have gotten to, but if I did, it'd probably take me another 25 years to get to understand, where we come from and why we act certain ways. I was able to sort of get there in the space of probably a year. And for that, it allows me to live my life so differently and so much happier.
Well, I ended up back on meds when Audrey was pregnant with Wolfgang. I'd been off meds for quite a while.
Yeah.
And as the weeks ticked down, I was not doing well.
Yeah.
I was quite clearly not doing well. And she just took one look at me and she's like, I need you to get back. I need you to go see your doctor. I need you to get back on meds.
Yeah.
I need you around. And I'm so glad that she did, because when I'm in it, I don't know that I'm in it. And the worst thing about having small children is not the sleep. It's not everything's covered in avocado and Weet-Bix. It's not that. It's not anything. They don't do what you tell them, but they will do everything you show them. And you start seeing them do stuff and say stuff that you're like, oh, Christ, that's something my fucking dad used to say.
Really?
And they've copied that mannerism, and they've copied that thing. Oh, man, they don't need to go through life with that. And that really, if you're aware of it, it's you as a parent, in my experience, to go, all right, there's no need for these patterns to continue. I can play a role in this no longer being in the world. The way that my parents spoke to each other and the way that, their relationship, ran its course does not need to perpetuate with this person who has nothing to do with those things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, as you mentioned, try to be a bit aware of what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And in some ways, almost reparent myself.
Yeah.
Talking about it with him or with G sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's you start to find all these things that fly out of your mouth that you literally haven't, because your brain goes, oh, the last time this happened, this was the right thing to say. But that was 1986.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't belong here. But this is the thing that's just flown out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh, hang on a sec, I better sort that out.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I had nothing to do with choosing it.
Yeah, yeah. And Magnus knows certain things that I've grown up with, and he's like, when we have our daughter, you're not going to say those things to her, are you? He even said it to me yesterday. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll make sure not to say that. Or I need to stop myself from going into that old school script.
Yeah, you find other things to say. Right. Because if one thing your brain does, which is wild, and all you hear is to do this. If you say, when you want to do this instead. If you give your brain an option, it goes, oh. Because if you say, don't do this, like, great, what am I supposed to do? So it's really literally an if this, then that. With Wolf, for example, if, and they do stuff, they, bite and claw and punch, whatever, because there's boys. And you just try to tell them the thing to do instead. And when you tell them what to do rather than don't do that, it's like, well, I'm 4. This is the best idea I've got right now.
Yeah.
Give me you got to give them something. You
Yep.
got to give them something to do.
Yeah.
There's something
the
else
choice.
to do. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you're about to go down the Maggie Dent rabbit hole. It's going to be great.
I do look forward to it.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
It's great. The other thing I would say is most definitely put headphones on and play songs.
You did that?
Oh yeah, I did it with my youngest brother. My mum
did it?
My mum knew to do it.
And
in the 80s.
Did it
Yeah.
affect?
They recognise the song.
They do.
Yeah.
We were wondering about that.
Yeah, it's a trick, like particularly if it's like something that is calming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because Magnus has been playing, he's been working with a rapper, so he's been playing like the rap beats, and I'm like, I don't know how calming that is for her. But who knows?
That's
Maybe
right.
she loves it.
Yeah. Whatever, you play a song. And then
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then when I knew someone who would sit with a Bluetooth speaker when she sat cross-legged. She put the Bluetooth speaker in front of her belly button and play this one particular song. And then when baby was born, they'd play this song and the baby would just calm because this is the sound of
Really?
that. Yeah. Wild, right?
That's brainwashing. That's or whatever it is, the
Is it?
thing where they're like, this is the song that will turn you into the thing.
It's like anything. It's when you hear Chasing Cars from Snow Patrol, you're remembering the text in Disneyland.
Oh, I'm remembering,
right?
all of it. I'm hearing Phoenix Too Young and I'm going, woo, something's happening. Yeah.
It's really underrated. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me and for the parenting tips.
I'm only trying,
I can't wait to get more.
I'm around if you need me, but there's plenty of other people. It's a wild time.
Oh, thanks for having us, I should say, because she's in here and she's
hang on.
grumbling away.
Linda's doing the double cup right now. It's the double cup.
When you hold the belly?
Thanks for having
is that what people do? Yeah.
Well, you're not in a linen shirt, so,
To be honest, she actually just feels like gas most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like a little farty bomb that's in there.
Oh, man. That's all part of it. It's the best ever.